Hello. Hello, how are you guys? Let's see. Looks like you're muted.
All right, let's start again.
There we go. I can hear you now.
All right, thank you for pointing that out. Weston, I'm Brian Reed, a commissioner in Bonneville County, and I have John Walker, our another commissioner, sitting near me here. We also have Marylou Hatch from the assessor's office on camera, and then we have Kayla Lawrence, our administrative assistant.
Okay.
So that's who we have in the room with us. We appreciate you joining us today, and we'll be taking care of this for you. We've received a synopsis from Marylou with all of the information, the correspondence that she's had back and forth with you and the history. So I think we're pretty aware of what has taken place here. Do you want to explain to us, how you ended up with that homeowner's exemption where you weren't living there and what happened?
Yeah, so about a week, I think it was a little over a week ago, my dad sent me the letter of the notice that I'm not exactly sure what the correct terms here, so I apologize for the incorrect terms, but that they were going to be backdating my homeowner's tax on that house where I haven't been living there. I was previously unaware. I know that Marylou had mentioned that the mail had been going to my house and it hadn't been coming back. So I have a lady that lives a couple of homes down in the neighborhood who checks my mail there and brings it in. But she hasn't mentioned anything, and I hadn't, when I have brought it up, I hadn't known. So anyways, long story short, the other week was my first time getting the notification of it. And I know that Marylou mentioned they want to backdate it to 2019, as that's when I have my first review on the AIRBNB platform there. I just wanted to meet today to see if there was any way we could void that and start it now, or I didn't know about it. Reason being is I intend to move back. I'm a dental student here in California. So when I got accepted here, we'd been living in Idaho Falls there after college. And obviously we chose not to sell the house, and we wanted to at least cover our mortgage or something so that it wasn't just sitting there where we intend to come home. So started school in August 2019. My wife and I moved down. We kind of were shuttling back and forth for a couple of weeks there. And then fast forward to 2020 in February, my school actually shut down. So during that time, we actually moved back for COVID, and my school was completely online for about 6 months. So during that time, we were living either at my house or at my in-laws, but we spent a majority of the time at our house there in Idaho Falls. So we were living there. Then my school went back towards the end of that year. It kind of went back to partially in person. So we moved back towards the end of the year, but during 2020, we did spend a lot of time there. And then, let's see, I gotta get my years straight. So then 2021, so let me see. So COVID was, okay. So sorry. So 2020, we moved home for COVID and spent a lot of time there. My school went back in person on and off for about the next year and a half, depending where I was. So this year I started clinical rotation. So now I am here full-time now. 2022 will be my first full year not living in the house. There's been moments when we haven't lived there, of course, hence why we have reviews on Airbnb and such, but we have occupied it at least for several months each year.
Did you, were you renting that on Airbnb through all those years, including the 6 months when you moved back to Idaho Falls? Were you still renting it occasionally?
One second, I just need to plug this computer in so it doesn't stop, and then I can answer your question. I just didn't want my computer to die there. No, so when we were living there, It's not like we were moving in and out just as guests came. We were just living there. This will be the first full year, like I said, that we won't be there at all, where I started my clinic rotations. So my clinic rotations would have started this past August in 2021. So that will, since this past August 2021 is the only time we have not occupied the house at all, starting this past August.
Okay.
And I mean, the purpose for me is it's not like we're trying to get like rich and wealthy off leaving our house on Airbnb. We want to cover our mortgage till we come back. I mean, again, I'm just a dental student, so it's we're just holding it till we can get back there.
Yeah. As you probably know, the Idaho law is pretty clear that it has to be your primary residence, and it has to be owner occupied. I'm not sure. Help me out, Marylou. If it's occupied 6 months out of the year, but they use it as a rental for the other, that would disqualify it.
That would, yes. Yes, it's got to be owner and you got to occupy it for at least 6 months and 1 day. But if you're renting it out, that disqualifies the homeowner's exemption.
Okay. So, I mean, in the way you just explained it, for a minimum of 6 months, 2019, we lived there 8 months before I even started school. And then in 2020, we would have lived there for 6 months at least, if not more. 2021, 2021 would be on the brink of 6 months. I mean, it'd be right at the 6 month mark for 2021.
I think that the problem's going to be is where you rented it a portion of the year, that automatically disqualifies it for the entire year.
This is Commissioner Walker. We had a case similar to this a couple of months back, and they were there for 6 months, and then they were down south. And the reason that 6 month thing is there for the folks that go where it's warm for the winter, and they can't rent it while they're gone, even for one night. It's very specific. The law is very specific about the difference between homeowner occupied, and you can be gone for 6 months. You don't have to live there. You can go live somewhere else. You cannot have a homeowner's exemption where you're going to, like if you're going south to New Mexico or Arizona, you can't have a homeowner's exemption on a property there and jump back and forth between them, but you cannot rent the property when it's vacant here, or you by law lose the homeowner's exemption. So it's not really in our hands if it's been rented. That's correct?
That is correct. Yes. We get a lot of people that go south for, sunbirds for the winter, that and as long as the house is not rented, they can keep their homeowner's exemption. If they, live there for 6 months and 1 day and then go in the wintertime, go south. As long as no one's living in it and it's not rented, they can keep it. But in your case, you've lived there several months of the year and then rented it out. So that just disqualifies the homeowner's exemption. You understand?
I do. It just seems odd to me because it kind of seems silly to not do something with your house when you're gone, especially in my scenario where we're trying to move back. I'm trying to live in Idaho. I'm not trying to live in a different state. So it just kind of seems silly to to kind of have to take that hit when I'm trying to come back and be there. And especially with the ruling where you said as long as it's been as long as you've been there 6+ months. I guess my question for you guys would be, other than the reviews on Airbnb, is there some sort of privacy act that I can take where you can't see that I've charged these people? You just see reviews. So you
If I
can't
could-
technically see that they've been, that's what I'm just trying to find a way. I'm not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable. I'm just trying to find a way where I don't have to fork up $5,000 that I don't really have at the moment. I mean, I can figure something out, but I mean, is there anything like that where, I mean, you guys are
It
just
might
looking
help
at
if you understood how this came to us. This didn't come to us because the folks here in Bonneville County were out tracking Airbnbs. It was the state that contacted us and said, is there an HOA on this? Right?
Right.
I'll let you.
Yeah,
explain the
Idaho State
process.
Tax Commission contacted me and asked if I could check to see if there was a homeowner's exemption on this property. And I did. And I said, yes. And she said, and her name was Jill Sanders. And she says, it's an Airbnb. So I don't think it should have a homeowner's exemption. I said, thank you for letting me know. And I'd go into it and I did some research and found out that, yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's an Airbnb. So it didn't come to our office directly. It come from the state.
And the Airbnb reports, they withhold taxes that they provide to the state. They do that as a service for you, the renter, the rentee. Yeah. They actually withhold those taxes and then pay that to the state. So it's a tax revenue trail that the state follows up on. And so it's their system that kicked it out, which keeps us out of a legal entanglement because we didn't know about it until they told us about it.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Weston, as commissioners, we quite often find ourselves in a position where we do not have much choice. We have to follow state statute. The state, requires us, and they count on us to follow those statutes. And certainly, you're able to rent it out, but you cannot qualify for the homeowner's exemption if you do. So that would be the choice that the homeowner would make, is if it's, enough money in the Airbnb to pay the full tax, or, that break is given to owner occupied homeowners for them to be able to live in their home and not, pay, too high of a tax rate.
So would there be, I get what you guys are saying. Is there anything that you guys can do to help me as, just trying to move back? I mean, I get what you're saying, but is there anything that you can do to help me? I know that there's got to be a loophole somewhere that I'm sure someone could potentially be aware of. Could we start it as of now rather than retroactively going all the way back to 2019? I just would appreciate any help I could receive. And, if you guys know of anything, then that would be great. That's really all I'm asking. It kind of seems to feel the opposite right now, but.
I would say that the only discretion we may have is on the penalty and interest. That by statute, that's really the discretion that we have. And when I look at this, I always have to weigh what harm has come to the county. And the only harm I see is there are some administrative fees in, collecting this, in our assessor's office time of having to track this down and go through it all. So, there has been some harm to the taxpayers in Bonneville County that we need to be responsible for. I don't know, Commissioner Walker, how do you think that we could do something on some of that, or what's your thoughts?
Well, my heart goes out to you because we love the fact that you're pursuing your education and your career and you want to come back here and do it here. Certainly like that more than to see the house go to somebody from out of state that's coming here and not from here. But Commissioner Reed's right. We're really limited by law on what we can do. And sometimes that is extremely frustrating, but it's also the law, and you have to assume that those laws are written to protect the citizens in a broad scope. I would agree with Commissioner Reed that I think we can do something about at least part of the penalty, the interest and penalties, because to date, those aren't legislated away in a way that they don't give us any control over. It would probably be less complicated if your mail had gotten sent to you and you'd have known about this in the beginning, instead of our office having to track down your parents and send them a registered letter to get this correspondence through to you, because this would have been corrected a while back, I think.
Yeah, were you aware of the requirements to maintain the homeowner's exemption on there, that it had to be owner occupied, that you were not able to rent it?
No, I know that my, like my taxes are just paid through the mortgage. So that's
500 pages you get.
Yeah,
what'd you say?
I know it's not, I know it's not very much. The penalties and interests on it are about $611. I mean, we could waive 50% of it. And again, I know that's not a lot with the amount of tax here, but our hands are really tied on the rest. So
it would,
yeah.
So I'm just looking at the full amount here. So of the 5,650, you could waive, you're saying, $400 or so.
Yeah, excuse me. 50% of it would be $305. So that's 50% of the penalties and interest.
Okay. Okay. Well, anything you can do, is there anyone else that I could talk to and explain my situation that's, within the state that brought it to you, or?
So my understanding is this can be appealed, is that correct, to the district court? Or?
I am not absolutely sure on that.
That's a good question. And every time we have something, there's a good question and the answer is a different answer. So it's
Commissioners Wilson.
Some things can be appealed to the district court. As far as trying to sort things out at the state so that, or come to a better understanding. Most of what I know about Airbnb is because we had a second home that we Airbnb'd, and so I understand how they, how they collect taxes and report it to the state. And so that's to make sure you report it as your income when you're filing your income taxes, and they have some way of checking the addresses and, I don't know, doing that at the state level.
We were just talking here, there are some things that when they go past the county commissioners, they're appealed to the district court, but I can't tell you if there is on this. We don't believe there is. It hasn't been done before, so afraid this is where we'd be at.
Okay.
No, and again, I sincerely wish that we could help you more on it, but our hands really are tied where the state keeps this for owner occupied homes.
Okay. Where you're unsure, would you be able to get a solid answer for me and see if it can be appealed?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll I will get that back to you from the commissioner's office. We'll get an answer. Do you have an email address?
I don't have an email address.
Would you give us your email address? That may be the best way to correspond it quickly back to you.
Let me just put it in the chat here.
Okay.
So that way spelling's all good.
And go use your mouse and hit the chat thing, and it should, there you go, yeah, and then it'll pop up. I'll write it down.
Do you see it in the chat there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's yeah, we've got it.
Okay, well, I would appreciate that, and anything that can be done would be great.
Yeah, I'll get you an answer back as quick as we can.
Okay. When would I be able to expect an answer? I believe I was told, I don't know if it was Marylou that said there would be a tax lien placed on my house. What is it? The
Tax lien, yeah, and the deadline for that is March 24th. And by law, after that, I have to place the lien on the property.
So it's pretty quick.
Yeah, and we'll have you an answer back by tomorrow.
Okay.
By noon tomorrow.
Is that able to be extended a couple weeks?
The deadline,
Mhm.
unfortunately, no, because it's a state law that I have to do it for 30 days and then place a lien on the property. And the 24th is the 30-day deadline, unfortunately, or else I would.
We have no discretion on that.
Even where I've only known about it for 10 days?
Yeah. I will check into it though. And I'll get your email address and I'll email you also with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Just seems like,
Yeah, no, I would agree, Weston. If we have any leeway on that, we would be glad to give you a couple of week extension on that.
And we have tried, when we could legitimately blame the fact that the mail took longer to get the response because the COVID slowdown in the mail, then we have stretched things whenever we can. When we have somebody like you that's willing to do what you need to, so that we can all satisfy due diligence. So we'll get the answer back to you as quick as we can. And if there's any way to stretch the date out.
yeah, I mean, even a couple weeks would be much appreciated. So,
Yeah, we'll, if we can, we will do that. Is there anything else? All right, I'm sorry we couldn't do better for you.
okay. Well, thank you, Commissioner Walker and Reed and Marylou.
Yeah, we will get right back to you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll expect an email. Thank you.
All right, bye.